As you are watching this, your mind is working its magic, connecting ideas in ways that even the fanciest computers can't match. Every thought you have is like a little builder, shaping your future bit by bit. Now, I know many of us feel like our dreams are just out of reach, but the truth is, we've got the power to make them happen right here in our heads. We just need to figure out how to use it. Today, I'd like to show you the exact way of tapping into that potential. We'll look at some interesting brain science, talk about the power of picturing what you want, and touch on ideas from some clever thinkers like Neville Goddard and Joe Dispenza. My goal is to help you shake off those pesky doubts and start moving toward the future you've always wanted. Let's begin by setting a powerful intention. Tell the universe you're prepared to embrace new successes and prosperity. Putting it in writing strengthens it, so comment below to claim it. Opportunities find me. I grow in wealth daily. Let's chat about something remarkable. How your brain can change and grow even as you get older. You know, not too long ago, folks thought our brains were set in stone after childhood. But now, we've learned that's not the case at all. Your brain keeps adapting and rewiring itself throughout your life. It's like an old dog learning new tricks, if you will. Now, every time you catch yourself thinking, "Oh, I can't do that," you're actually reinforcing old habits in your brain that hold you back. But here's the good news. When you switch that thought to something like, "I can give this a try," you're starting to create new pathways of possibility in your mind. It's like clearing a new path through a field. The more you walk it, the clearer it becomes. You might find this interesting. Scientists have found that just imagining yourself doing something can have almost the same effect on your brain as actually doing it. It's quite something, isn't it? I remember hearing about a study with athletes who practiced their sport only in their minds. They improved almost as much as those who did physical training. Isn't that something? I was at a seminar once where I met a lovely lady named Mary. She'd always been terrified of public speaking, but she started spending a few minutes each day imagining herself confidently giving a speech. Lo and behold, after a couple of months, she stood up at her grandson's wedding and gave a beautiful toast. It just goes to show what's possible when we put our minds to it. You see, our brains tend to follow familiar patterns, like well-worn paths in a garden. If you've spent years telling yourself, "This is too hard," or "I'm not up to this," those paths can get pretty deep. But the wonderful thing is, it's never too late to start making new paths. It might take a bit of effort at first, but with time and practice, those new thoughts can become just as natural as the old ones. So, how about giving it a try? Each morning, take a moment to picture yourself as the person you'd like to be. See yourself tackling challenges with a smile, enjoying conversations with friends, and feeling content. The key is to really feel it. Imagine how good it would feel to be living that life. It's like planting seeds in your mind. With a little care and attention, they'll grow into something beautiful. Remember, it's okay if it feels a bit strange at first. Any new habit takes some getting used to, but stick with it, and you might just surprise yourself with what you can achieve. After all, you've got a lifetime of wisdom behind you. Why not use it to shape an even brighter future? Let's talk about something truly amazing, how your brain can change and grow even as you get older. You see, not too long ago, folks thought our brains were set in stone after childhood. But now, we've learned that's not the case at all. Your brain keeps adapting and rewiring itself throughout your life. It's like an old dog learning new tricks, if you will. Now, every time you catch yourself thinking, "Oh, I can't do that," you're actually reinforcing old habits in your brain that hold you back. But here's the exciting part. When you switch that thought to something like, "I can give this a try," you're starting to create new pathways of possibility in your mind. It's like clearing a new path through a field. The more you walk it, the clearer it becomes. Dr. Joe Dispenza, a well-known researcher in neuroscience, talks about living as if your dreams have already come true. It's not just about wishing for things to be different, but actually feeling the joy and confidence of having what you want. When you do this, you're giving your brain and body a new set of instructions. It's like you're telling yourself a new story, and your whole being starts to believe it. You might find this fascinating. Scientists have found that just imagining yourself doing something can have almost the same effect on your brain as actually doing it. It's quite remarkable, isn't it? If this is resonating with you, let us know in the comments. Your input makes these conversations even better. Athletes who practiced their sport only in their minds improved almost as much as those who did physical training. Isn't that something? Every morning when you wake up, you've got a chance to choose which story you want to live by. Will it be the old familiar tale or the new one you're writing for yourself? It's like choosing which pair of glasses to put on, the ones that show you the same old view or the ones that let you see new possibilities. Remember, it's okay if it feels a bit strange at first. Any new habit takes some getting used to, but stick with it, and you might just surprise yourself with what you can achieve. After all, you've got a lifetime of wisdom behind you. Why not use it to shape an even brighter future? Every thought you have is like planting a tiny seed in your mind. These seeds grow into the experiences and the person you become. When we choose thoughts that match the life we want, our brain starts to change, creating new connections that support this new reality. The wonderful thing is, we all have this ability to change. We don't need anyone's permission or fancy tools to start. It's all about making conscious choices in our thoughts and feelings each day. Think of your mind as a garden. Each thought is a seed, and every time you think it, you're watering that seed. Our brains are amazingly flexible, changing all the time based on what we focus on. By regularly planting seeds of possibility and growth, we're guiding our brain to rewire itself in a way that supports these ideas. Over time, with practice, this creates a mental environment where success and happiness can flourish. As you go through this process, remember that setbacks are normal. Old habits might try to come back, tempting you to think in the old ways. This doesn't mean you're failing. It's just a reminder of how deep those old patterns are. It's like when you're trying to get in shape. There are days when it's harder to exercise. When you notice these old thoughts, try not to judge yourself. Instead, be curious about them and remind yourself that each challenge is a chance to strengthen your new way of thinking. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about how important it is to combine clear intention with positive emotion. When we do this, our brain and body work together, making it easier for us to feel and think in ways that support our goals. This teamwork between intention and emotion helps create change in our brains. Our body starts to produce chemicals that make us feel good and help us focus. The more we practice this, the more natural it becomes, until it's just part of who we are. But what about the days when you're not feeling motivated or when doubt creeps in? In those moments, it helps to remember what Neville Goddard taught, the importance of sticking with the feeling of already having what you want. Neville said this feeling is like a bridge between who we are now and who we want to become. By returning to this feeling, even when it's tough, we're telling our subconscious that this is real and important to us. It's this steady mental commitment that eventually turns into real changes in our lives. Consistency is key here. Just like exercising every day builds muscle, practicing these mental exercises regularly strengthens the connections in our brain associated with our goals. Imagine the difference between going to the gym once a month and exercising every day. Our brain works in a similar way. Occasional positive thoughts are nice, but consistent, purposeful practice creates lasting change. By making this mental work a daily habit, we give ourselves the best chance to succeed and build a life that reflects what we truly want. Another powerful practice is detailed visualization. Spend a few minutes each day not just seeing what you want, but feeling it in every part of your body. Imagine the details, what you hear, smell, and see. The more real you make this in your mind, the more your subconscious believes it. When we add genuine gratitude to this, we activate parts of our brain that further support our goals. This feeling of gratitude tells our mind and body that what we want is already here, which starts a chain reaction of positive responses in our body. Let's talk about why gratitude is so powerful, and there's some fascinating science behind it. You see, when we genuinely feel grateful, our brain releases a special mix of chemicals. These chemicals help our minds work better, reduce our stress, and make us more resilient. It's like giving our brain a little boost of energy and positivity. Gratitude is one of the best ways to get our mind and body working together towards what we want. Each time we practice being grateful, it's like we're rewiring our brains. This rewiring helps us notice more good things around us, stay focused on what's important, and bounce back easier when things get tough. Now, here's a simple way to turn these good thoughts into actions. Every day, try to do one small thing that fits with the person you want to be. It doesn't have to be anything big. Maybe it's just responding calmly to something that usually frustrates you, or trying a new way to do a familiar task. These small actions are important because they show you're becoming the person you want to be. It's like planting tiny seeds of change. Over time, these small acts start to add up. They help strengthen those new pathways in your brain that you're working on. Remember, it's not about making big changes all at once. It's about those little, everyday choices that slowly but surely shape who we are. And with each grateful thought and each small action, you're moving closer to the life you envision for yourself. It's never too late to start this journey, and you might be surprised at how these small steps can lead to big changes in how you feel and live your life. As you keep practicing these new ways of thinking, you'll start to notice some interesting changes. Things that used to feel overwhelming might not seem so bad anymore. When challenges come up, you might find yourself feeling calmer and more curious about how to handle them. This is because your brain is adjusting to match your new view of yourself. As you continue, you'll likely see changes in different parts of your life, your relationships, your work, your health, and even your sense of purpose. They'll start to line up with this new, more confident way of thinking you're developing. Remember, this journey isn't about being perfect, it's about making progress. There will be days when old habits try to sneak back in, and you might feel like you're slipping into old ways of thinking. When that happens, remind yourself that this is an ongoing process. Each step forward builds on the last one. With patience and persistence, you're creating a new mental environment that will support your goals instead of holding you back. It can be really helpful to share this journey with others. In workshops I've been to, people often find inspiration and support from those around them. Hearing about others' successes and challenges reminds us that we're not alone in this process. It shows us that change is possible, no matter how difficult it might seem at times. This is your personal journey, and it starts and ends with you. But every step you take, every positive thought you choose, and every action you take is building a stronger foundation for the life you want. Instead of waiting for things around you to change, you're actively creating a new reality inside yourself, and that, in turn, will shape the world around you. Your mind is an incredibly powerful tool, capable of amazing growth and change. By nurturing it with thoughts, feelings, and actions that reflect your best self, you're lining up with a future that's already within your reach. Think of each day as a blank canvas, and your thoughts and feelings are the paint. The way you see yourself and the words you say to yourself in your mind are like an artist's brush strokes, painting the picture of your future. These thoughts do more than just reflect how you feel. They actually train your brain and body to respond in certain ways, influencing how you experience every moment. Each day, you get to choose whether to reinforce old habits that might be holding you back, or to consciously choose thoughts and emotions that open up new possibilities. The first step in changing these patterns is becoming aware, realizing that you're in control of what you focus on. It starts with simply noticing your automatic thoughts, the ones that seem to play over and over in your mind. Many of us go through our days with an inner voice that's based on past experiences or worries. But when we recognize that this inner voice is just a habit, not the absolute truth, we have a powerful chance to change it. Let's talk about a powerful way to make these changes stick. It's called visualization. Now, this isn't just daydreaming, it's about really putting yourself in the picture of what you want to achieve. When you do this, try to use all your senses. If you're imagining yourself feeling confident, for example, think about how that confidence feels in your body. What does it sound like when you speak with confidence? What does your posture look like? Close your eyes and picture yourself exactly as you want to be. Calm, accomplished, or whatever your goal might be. Really feel those emotions as if they're happening right now. This isn't just pretending. When you combine this mental picture with real feelings, you're actually helping your brain create new pathways. It's fascinating. Scientists have found that this kind of vivid imagination can affect your brain in ways similar to real experiences. Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's done a lot of research on this, talks about how these practices can actually change the wiring in our brains. He's found that when we practice something in our minds, really focusing on it and feeling it, our brains change in ways that are similar to if we were physically doing that thing. In other words, your brain doesn't always know the difference between what you're vividly imagining and what's really happening. So, each time you do this kind of mental practice, you're actually setting things in motion inside yourself that bring you closer to your goals. It's like you're rehearsing for the life you want, and your brain is learning the part. Let's talk about another powerful tool. It's called reframing challenges. Life will always throw obstacles our way, and even when we're trying to grow and change, old problems might pop up. Reframing is about looking at these challenges in a new way. Instead of seeing them as setbacks, we can view them as chances to strengthen our minds. When doubts or difficulties come up, instead of letting them push us back into old habits, we can see them as signs that we're growing. They're like little signals that our old way of thinking is being questioned. If we can meet these challenges with curiosity instead of frustration, we give ourselves the chance to respond in a new way. To really benefit from these practices, it's important to be consistent. Try to start each day with positive thoughts. Begin with thinking about things you're grateful for, then move on to positive statements about the person you're becoming. Over time, these positive statements will start to feel less like words you're just saying and more like truths you believe. Your mind begins to accept them, and your brain actually changes to make these thoughts more natural. It can help to make these practices part of your daily routine. For example, you could create little reminders in your environment, maybe a note on your fridge or a small object on your desk. These reminders can help you reconnect with the positive state of mind you're aiming for. They're like little nudges to pay attention to your thoughts and choose the ones that make you feel strong and capable. In a practical sense, this daily practice of managing your thoughts is a bit like taking care of a garden. Weeds, negative thoughts might pop up, but with regular attention, you keep the space clear for the thoughts you want to grow. So, each time a limiting thought appears, you recognize it, replace it with a more positive one, and then refocus on thoughts that match your goals. With practice, this process becomes more natural, and your mind gets used to looking for and holding on to empowering beliefs. Another important part of this journey is building resilience. Remember, this transformation doesn't mean you'll never face challenges, but it does give you tools to handle them better. When you've trained yourself to be aware of your thoughts and intentional about them, the emotional ups and downs of obstacles don't hit you as hard. Over time, you might find that situations that used to stress you out or make you doubt yourself are now met with calm and confidence. This happens because the new pathways you've developed in your brain through practice have laid the groundwork for a stronger, more forward-looking mindset. For many people, the biggest breakthroughs come from the smallest adjustments. This process of transformation isn't necessarily about making huge changes. It's about making small, consistent shifts in how you perceive things, how you feel, and how you think. Just like a seed grows slowly but steadily, each choice to lift your mood and redirect your thoughts builds a foundation for the change you're seeking. As you keep practicing these new ways of thinking, imagine each thought and feeling as a pebble dropped in a pond. The ripples spread out, changing not just how you feel inside, but also how you interact with the world around you. This process is about getting your mind and body to work together smoothly. When your thoughts match your feelings, you're not fighting with yourself anymore. Your inner voice becomes like a compass, guiding you toward the person you want to be. It's important to remember that changing old habits takes time, especially when you're trying to create new patterns to replace ones you've had for a long time. Our minds are used to following familiar paths, even if those old ways of thinking don't help us anymore. These habits of thought, feeling, and behavior are so deeply rooted that they often happen without us even noticing. But with steady practice, new patterns can develop, and eventually, they'll feel just as natural as the old ones did. One of the most powerful things about this process is understanding that each thought you choose on purpose is like planting a seed for your future experiences. When you decide to focus on thoughts that reflect the future you want, rather than dwelling on your current limitations, you're training your brain to look for, recognize, and respond to opportunities that match this future vision. It's like you're rehearsing in your mind for the life you want, which prepares you to act from a mindset of I can rather than I can't. Remember, you've accumulated a lifetime of wisdom and experiences. This journey isn't about discarding who you are, but about using all that knowledge to shape who you want to become. It's never too late to start this process. Each day brings new opportunities to choose thoughts and actions that align with your goals. Think of it like tending a garden you've had for many years. You're not uprooting everything, but rather carefully nurturing new growth alongside the beautiful things you've already cultivated. Some days, it might feel like nothing is changing, but beneath the surface, new roots are forming. With patience and consistent care, you'll start to see new blooms, new ways of thinking and being that enrich your life in ways you might not have imagined. This journey is uniquely yours. There's no rush and no competition. It's about discovering and nurturing the best version of yourself at your own pace. As you continue this practice, you might find that not only does your own life change, but you also become a source of inspiration and positivity for those around you. Your growth can create a ripple effect, touching the lives of friends, family, and even strangers in ways you never expected. Let's talk about an idea that Neville Goddard, a well-known teacher, often emphasized. He called it living from the end. What this means is imagining and feeling as if you've already achieved your goal. It's not just daydreaming, but a way of teaching your mind to create new patterns. Instead of always feeling like you're chasing after something, you picture yourself as already having reached it. When you do this regularly, something amazing starts to happen. Those old limiting beliefs that might have held you back begin to fade away. You start to feel that change isn't just possible, but that it's actually happening right now. This new way of thinking helps you look at obstacles differently. Instead of seeing setbacks as failures, you can see them as chances to prove how committed you are and to strengthen your new habits. Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's done a lot of research in this area, has shown that we can actually change our brains by consistently practicing new thought patterns. When we visualize our goals and really feel the emotions associated with achieving them, we create new connections in our brains. Over time, these new connections make it easier for us to choose positive thoughts and feelings because they become a natural part of how our mind works. Now, it's normal to feel some resistance along the way. Sometimes, especially when we're stressed or facing a challenge, our mind might slip back into old habits. But don't get discouraged when this happens. Instead, see it as a sign of how much progress you're making. Each time you catch yourself thinking in the old way and consciously choose to think differently, you're exercising your mind, making it stronger and more resilient. Here's a practical tip to help with this process. Try starting each day with a few minutes of quiet reflection. During this time, focus on the person you're becoming. Think about how this future version of yourself thinks, feels, and acts. Pick one or two qualities of this future self. Maybe it's confidence, calmness, or clarity. Spend a few minutes imagining yourself with these qualities throughout your day, especially in situations that might usually cause stress or doubt. This little morning ritual sets the tone for your day. Instead of just reacting to whatever happens, you're choosing how you want to approach things. Each time you act from this more positive state, you're reinforcing those new pathways in your brain, and it soon becomes a natural part of who you are. Remember, it's not about making huge changes all at once. Small, consistent steps are much more effective than trying to force big changes quickly. Think of it like exercising. Regular, gentle exercise builds strength over time better than occasional intense workouts. In the same way, focusing on your future self for just a few minutes each day builds mental strength and helps align your thoughts and actions with your goals. This journey isn't just about reaching specific goals. It's about developing a new way of thinking and being that changes how you interact with life. Each time you consciously choose a thought or feeling that matches your goals, you're reinforcing the identity of someone who lives with purpose and clarity. This sense of purpose itself becomes a source of motivation and satisfaction. Think of this practice as creating a mental home for yourself, a place of stability, clarity, and confidence that you return to each day. As you strengthen these mental habits, you'll find that outside challenges don't affect you as much. Instead, you're able to handle them from a place of inner strength, guided by the vision you've chosen for yourself. As we wrap up our discussion, I want to thank you for taking the time to explore these powerful ideas with me. Remember, every small step you take towards positive thinking and self-improvement is a victory. You've accumulated a lifetime of wisdom, and now you're learning how to use that wisdom to shape an even brighter future. This journey of personal growth is uniquely yours. There's no rush and no need to compare yourself to others. It's about discovering and nurturing the best version of yourself at your own pace. As you continue to practice these techniques, you may find that not only does your own life change, but you also become a source of inspiration for those around you. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.